Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking about the week that was in pro wrestling. So that's going to be Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. Going for the trifecta today. Reason I'm doing this on Thursday instead of Friday is that Friday afternoon is the Mets home opener, and I'd like to be available to watch. So that's probably what I'm going to do tomorrow, weather permitting. I decided why not just get this done today. So hopefully you strap in, grab yourself your favorite beverage, and let's do this. So we start off with Monday Night Raw. We start off with what we thought was going to be a John Cena promo. Gets all the way to the ring, has a microphone, brings it up to his lips. Wrestling has more than one royal family. Out comes Cody Rhodes, the WWE champion. Gets in the ring, grabs a microphone. Cena's about to talk again. Cody's like, no. We've listened to you for the past 2 weeks. I'm going to do your job for you. So we're going to start this off by making fun of one of the letters of the alphabet that starts with S. Stardust, which gets a big pop. If you don't know, Stardust was the previous gimmick of Cody Rhodes. It was kind of a Goldust looking character. And he also teamed up with Victor and I forget their name. The Ascension. And it was not a good gimmick. Anyway, so Cody continues. It's got to bother you. You're going to headline WrestleMania with Stardust. What else could I make fun of myself for? Oh, I have an arm tattoo, but it's on my neck. I got booed in a company I helped create. Slight dig at AEW, which I'm going to say we deserve that one. Cody continues. I'm struggling that Superman is flying for the last time. But your words haven't matched your actions. You have lied to the audience. You had once cared about them, but then tell them really why. So Cena, with a grim look on his face, brings the microphone up to his mouth and says, I'm not going to reduce myself like that just to protect you. I'm not going to comfort you. I'm going to bury you. And people say I've buried talent long ago. I am the talent. I bury mediocrity. And your ego matches your ability. And I have the heart to beat my chauffeur. There's your why. You with that title disgusts me. You took my playbook, and I can see right through you. You rely on your lazy gimmicks, your singing. You're just like the Pied Piper in wrestling. You tricked them into following the catchy tune. Cody doesn't look, act, or work like me. Don't act, look, or work like you. You're some generic mix of every star he's ever loved. You've shown me one thing. Mediocrity is enough to trick them into loving you. That's what your tattoo is. A common fan likes them. The last real champ is here, and I'm taking it off my errand boy that got lucky. So Cody kind of has a dejected look on his face, like he just got gut punched. And then he says, I didn't expect that, but maybe you're right. They are the ones that chose me, though. Can you say the same? You were chosen by the guy in office who isn't here anymore that we're not allowed to talk about. Vince. You are a company creation, not like me. And you can make fun of me with the way I talk. That's a softball. You say you created this. You created disenfranchised fans who followed me out the door. There's two of us here. Between you and I, which one of us sold out to The Rock? And that was a gut punch to Cena. Then Cody kind of gets up close to Cena's ear, says, "You're still my hero, Cena. You're also a piece of shit." Cena then retorts, saying, "You're just like everyone else here. Your brain is filled with fancy, not facts. Everyone knows when I'm here, it's not a challenge of anyone in the back. No one is worthy of that. So I do it myself. You had to leave because you can whip my ass. And I'll see you at WrestleMania." So Cena goes to leave. They face off for a minute. Cody drops the title. He's taking off his suit. Then Cody goes to leave. Cody's going to pick up the title. Cena just tries to cheap shot Cody Rhodes. Cody catches it. Bends him over enough to hit a crossroads. I'm going to say this. I've liked their promo battles so far. They needed a good kick of energy. And this was it. This kind of felt... I'm not going to say unscripted, but I think Triple H let the leash off a little bit. Because we kind of mentioned Vince. We gave an AEW reference. It was all laid out on the table here, and it was the energy this feud needed, and we're gonna see a little bit more of that later on in the evening. So then we get a video recap of the Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley situation, which is very interesting. We then get the entrance of the New Day, who's getting ready for a tag team match. Go to commercial. Adam Pearce comes out and says, "Well, you guys wanted to have a challenge. Here they are. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, the New Catch Republic." That's right. Tyler Bate is back on the road from injury. Happy to see him back. And we go right into this next match as the New Day takes on the New Catch Republic. And this was a fun little TV match. Of course, home country crowd going crazy for Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, even though Pete Dunne is still technically a heel. Really good back and forth. Tyler Bate and that airplane spin, man. It fits. Eventually, he does tag Pete Dunne in, gets a big old enziguri. Goes for a finger snap. Kofi then comes in, hits an SOS for a 2 count. Xavier Woods tags in, hits a stomp, big kick, tries for a superplex, that gets blocked. Tyler Bate tags in with a couple of big strikes. Tags in Pete Dunne. Bate with a big boot. Pete Dunne with a straight bite, which tags in Kofi, who they hit the backbreaker stomp combination, which has been their finisher since they turned heel. Not sure what they're going to call it. They need a name for this to pick up the win. I am a little disappointed Tyler Bate lost his return match. But if they're going to be building up the New Day for a matchup with the War Raiders, that's fine. Speaking of, we then get an interview on the ramp, which I love these. We need to see more of these. Anyway, so Wood says, "Are you slow? Of course we do. We did exactly what we set out to do, and now we want a shot at the World Tag Team titles." And as soon as he says that, out walks Eric and Ivar of War Machine, and they have a stare down with Eric and Ivar holding the titles high. I'm down for this. I would have liked to see the Lucha Brothers take on War Raiders, but I'd be down for New Day challenging them for WrestleMania. So then we get highlights from the Usos versus the A-Town Down Under from last week. Then we see backstage, Jimmy is hyping up Jay. Then we see highlights of Jimmy and Jay interaction post the tag match. And then Jimmy slapping the taste out of the Gunther before challenging him for this week. Then we go back to live footage. We see Jimmy. He's getting ready in the back. Jay walks in. And he says to Jimmy, "I'd feel better if I was out there with you." Jimmy says, "I know the world is doubting you. While this door is closing, Gunther is just a man who's beatable. You're going to become World Heavyweight Champion." Jimmy goes to leave. Jay kind of puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "I hear you. Just be careful." Which is, fair, considering what we're about to see. We then get more Triple H Hall of Fame highlights. This time it's the street fight against Mick Foley, which I absolutely enjoyed that. Maybe a little too much. Then we see Bianca Belair. She's in the back with a referee, learning the ins and outs of being a ref. And she has a custom ref outfit on. And it's with the old school stripes instead of the collared shirts that they have now. So, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what we got for that. Next up, we got Jimmy Uso taking on Gunther. And I'm going to say this was less what we've seen from Jay. And I feel like Jimmy brings a bit more energy to this match. A couple of times Jimmy goes for the Uso splash, but Gunther gets his knees up. Jimmy with a bunch of super kicks. And Gunther with a big old drop kick during a spear attempt. Gunther with a power bomb. 1, 2. He takes Jimmy's shoulders off the mat. Gunther with a big boot clothesline combination. 1, 2, same thing. Then he gives him a couple of chops. Locks in the sleeper hold. But instead of tapping, Jimmy just fades. So Gunther's up. He's celebrating. He then looks to leave the ring. Gets back in, locks the sleeper hold back in. So Jimmy comes out, makes the save. He runs Gunther through the crowd. And then Jay checks on Jimmy. Then we see Jay and the ref helping Jimmy to the back after an ad. Then Gunther comes back in and just attacks Jimmy and Jay from behind. Tosses them pretty much into everything that moves. Officials are coming out to try and break it up. Gunther with a power bomb to Jay throws Jimmy into the ring post. Then we see he has zip ties. So he takes Jay's arm and locks him into the bottom rope. And then he just starts beating Jimmy's butt down. So then Gunther gets up, holds the world title in front of Jay's face, picks up Jimmy, hits a powerbomb, big old strikes. Then Gunther drags Jimmy to right in front of Jay so he can't help. Hits a couple of hammer and anvil elbows. And then he locks in the sleeper again. And at this point, Jimmy is gushing blood. He's got a crimson mask. And you can see Jimmy is trying to break out of the cuffs. Eventually, officials come down to break it up. And then the last thing we see of this segment is Gunther standing with the world title in his hand, Jimmy's blood across his chest. I'm going to say this. This is the intensity this rivalry needed. Like, what happened to the 10 weeks of torture Gunther promised Jay when this all started? Like, it's been so repetitive and just... I'm happy this finally has some meat to it, this rivalry. It's going to be good from now on. I believe now. So then we see the SmackDown contract signing between CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins for WrestleMania. Including Paul Heyman informing Punk he's going to be a WrestleMania main eventer. Which, if you want to know my thoughts about that, go see the last episode of This Week in Wrestling. We then get highlights from the Intercontinental title match from last week, in which, Judgment Day reformed again, which, honestly, I'm going to say this. Judgment Day, especially Finn Balor, it's time to shit or get off the pot. Like, I don't think anyone really cares if you're going to break up or not. So then we go to the back. It's just Dom, Carlito, and Finn at first. And then they're talking about last week. With Finn saying, we had a lot of time to work this out. We do fight like cats and dogs, but we always make up in the end. And tonight we're going to show Braun and Penta Judgment Day are still on top. And I'm going to bring home the Intercontinental title. So Finn walks off. Then Liv and Raquel walk in with Liv saying, what is he doing here? He's already gotten his shot and he's failed multiple times. Isn't it time for your opportunity? So then Dom leaves. Carlito's just kind of chilling there right beside Raquel. Camera pans over to him. Liv kind of main mugs him a little bit. Says, would you go outside for a minute? We want to talk about Bayley and Lyra. Alright, are we not getting tag title match at WrestleMania? I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what we do with the women's Intercontinental title and the women's tag straps. So next up, we got a very interesting tag team match playa. We got Penta and Braun Breaker, the Intercontinental Champion, taking on the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. And it's pretty much the ultimate, can they coexist? Which, no, they can't. But I'm going to say this. This was a really, really entertaining tag match. You got the speed of Penta versus, like, the power of Braun Breaker. The finesse of Finn Balor, and Dom's there. Actually, Dom was pretty good in this match, too. I'm not going to lie. At one point, we see Penta attempt the Destroyer. That gets blocked. Braun Breaker looks to hit the spear on Finn. Finn ducks out of the way. Hits Penta. Finn with a shotgun drop kick. A coup de grace. So your winners, the Judgment Day. So, yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting. I am definitely wondering what we're going to see from Penta and Braun. So next up, we got Adam Pearce. He's in his office, and he's talking to Chad Gable. With Gable praising the new luchador. I am not even going to attempt to say his name. Saying that's a great signing. However, I'm still not cleared to compete. Gable gives over his doctor's note. Pearce then says, well, as you know, Raw is going to be in Indianapolis next week. That's right. No more international Raws for now. Then Chad kind of gets a deer in the headlights look, saying, oh, I'll be cleared by then. Don't you worry. I know how to get healthy. Then Pearce turns to Gable and says, nothing is more important than the health of my competitors. So then Chad Gable goes to leave, runs into Otis and not American Made, Alpha Academy. He looks at Otis, says, clowns. Then Otis says, idiot. Gable walks off. Then we see Maxine Dupree take initiative, saying, listen, we've been talking and we wanted to discuss some opportunities in the tag division. And I do not just mean Otis and Tozawa. I have been talking to Natalya about certain things. So, yeah, Maxine Dupree and Natalya. That could work. So then we got a backstage Braun Breaker interview. Before he can say a word, Penta walks up to him, says some things in Spanish that I do not understand. They kind of shove each other. Then officials back them away. So yeah, definitely some more intensity. That's been missing from rivalries like this. We then get an AJ Styles in-ring promo. We were supposed to get Logan Paul calling out AJ Styles, but here we are instead, with AJ saying, Logan, I have been waiting all night. You said you were going to call me out. Well, I got something. If you got something to say, come out and say it now. So Logan Paul comes out, says, I hear you, AJ, but you wouldn't understand. You don't have the same level of fame I do. This is going to be all on my time, and if I want to make you wait, you'll sit and wait. Now I've had a change of heart. I'm a dad now. I'm a girl dad now. And I'm going to trying to teach my daughter the art of forgiveness. So AJ, I forgive you for what you did to me at Madison Square Garden. AJ then kind of puts on a little bit of a fake smile, says, I feel you. I've got a daughter too. I forgive you too. Logan gets a little inquisitive look on his face, says, forgive me? For what? AJ says, I forgive you for being the biggest douchebag stepping in the ring. Then Logan Paul starts ranting, saying, you're going to brag about this, aren't you? Well, I don't care what you're willing to sacrifice for them. Talent only gets you so far. And I wanted to ask you for some advice. Well, that's cute. AJ then says, I've got a saying in my family. Don't write a check with your mouth your ass can't catch. Logan asks, is that a threat? AJ says, this is Raw. I got my gear on. We're here in the ring. What do you think? Logan then kind of starts to walk away, says, I'm done talking, but I don't fight for free. Let's call a spade a spade. You want this match with Logan Paul? You gotta set your sights a little higher. Kind of points at the WrestleMania sign. Logan Paul then goes for a kick. AJ Styles catches it, hits him a couple times into the corner, attempts the Styles clash, but Logan Paul rolls to the outside. AJ follows him. He eats a KO punch. Logan tosses him into the announce table, gets him back in. Logan with a low blow and then a pulverizer, which is like a suplex into a DDT, which was an amazing move to finish the segment. So it looks like it's official. We are getting AJ Styles versus Logan Paul one-on-one at WrestleMania. And I'm going to say this, it's probably going to be a very, very, very good match. So next up, we're in the back with Lyra Valkyria, the Women's Intercontinental Champion, saying, I have to thank Bayley for having my back last week, but I need to prove I can stand on my own, and I need to prove I can beat Bayley. So next week, it's going to be me versus Bayley for the next Intercontinental title. So then we see a rundown on next week's card, which coming back to the US, so it is going to be regularly scheduled time for us in the US. Back to demon hours for the UK. I will admit I've been enjoying the UK time frame because it's just been wild. Get done with this by like 5 or 6 o'clock. It's pretty interesting. We then get Judgment Day. They're celebrating in their clubhouse or right outside their clubhouse, with Finn taking the lead, saying, it's been the second week in a row I took advantage of Braun. I'm going to go talk to Pierce about it. A title shot. So Finn leaves. Liv goes up to Dom, says, you should step up. You should be the one getting the shot, not him. So more cracks in the foundation of the Judgment Day. And now we get our main event, which got a ton of time, as we got the World Women's title on the line, as Io Sky defends against Rhea Bloody Ripley, with a special stipulation: Bianca Belair is the special guest referee. And honestly, I don't remember the last time we saw a special guest referee match, so this is definitely very cool. A couple points, we see both Rhea and Io just striking their opponents in the corner, and Bianca just pulling them off of each other. Couple of really good counters, including an electric hair driver into the apron. A bit of a botched run-up from Io, but they all they recovered enough so that they both beat the 10 count, go back to kicking each other's butt. Io with a roll-through stomp, which was very interesting. Rhea with a big Samoan drop off the middle rope, only for a 2 count. Io attempts an over the moonsault, but Rhea gets her knees up. Rhea attempts a riptide. Io counters it pretty much perfectly into a DDT. But then Rhea gets up, hits a Razor's Edge, an homage to Damian Priest. Rhea with a big boot, only gets a 2. Attempts another riptide. Io blocks it into a roll-up for a 2 count. Io attempts a big Rana. That gets blocked. Rhea attempting a big boot on Io. Io ducks it. It hits Bianca. Io goes for a roll-up, but the referee is out. Rhea hits a riptide, but again, no ref to count it. Rhea then gets in Bianca's face a little. Gets the cover on Io. 1, 2. Only a 2 count. Io attempts a big drop kick. Misses Rhea. Hits Bianca. They then just start chopping the heck out of each other. Bianca rolls out. Calls for the bell. So, match is called off via the DQ. And still, your women's champion, Io Sky. Rhea then pretty much dives out of the ring, attacks Bianca. Io then hits a moonsault on both of them. And they all just start brawling. Io with a riptide on each of them, including another one from the middle rope on Bianca. So, I had a feeling this was going to be shenanigan filled. But I'm going to say this worked. And we still have a big old question mark on what's going to happen at WrestleMania. More than likely, it's going to be a triple threat. Which I am more than all for. It's definitely going to be interesting. WWE definitely stepped up with this Raw. Last couple of Raws have been a little bit repetitive and uninteresting. This was a step up. And a massive one at that. So, that was Raw. Definitely felt like, the first one of WrestleMania season. So now we move to NWA Power, in which we see World Champion Tom Latimer. He's not in the arena. It looks like he's in a hotel somewhere. It could be his home in England. But I'm thinking more than likely it's going to be like New Orleans or something. And he says, I just want to breathe it in. I'm just like you. I got the passions and drive to be a champion. Aaron, you live in a make-believe land. I'm not scared. And in time, you will get my answer to your challenge. So, yeah, definitely interesting vibes from this promo. We then go to our first matchup of the evening, and it's for the NWA Junior Heavyweight title, as Alex Taylor takes on the Spectacular Slade. And this was a nice clash of styles. You got Taylor, who's more of, the high flyer type, while Slade is more the technical beast. And it worked really, really well. maybe some awkwardness in the beginning, but eventually they did find their flow. Alex Taylor with a stun gun. That was an interesting little move. Alex Taylor eventually gets the camel clutch in, which is a great move. Slade fights out. Taylor with a big drop kick, only for a 1 count. Slade then counters with some body slams, suplexes. Taylor counters another suplex into a Three Amigos. Attempts a superplex, but that gets blocked into a powerbomb attempt, which gets countered into an Alex Taylor roll-up for a 2 count. Taylor with a knee. Slade with a big knee. Attempts a big old Death Valley driver that gets blocked. Taylor then takes off the head protector. The ear protectors the wrestlers on the amateur circuit use. He rips them off. Rings his bell, which that was a great thing. Hits the green whistle for the win. So, very creative finish. I don't think I've ever seen something like that before. I mean, we do see luchadors getting unmasked and wrestlers taking advantage that way. I don't think I've ever seen wrestlers who wear the ear protectors get something like that. Then we go to the Southern Six Clubhouse, but no one from the actual Six is there. It's the bartender and then the server we've seen the last couple weeks, and then they're just talking about gossip, including about Alex Taylor, potentially screwing around with someone's significant other. Which, this was weird. I don't know, this felt way too personal. I really don't want to see the Southern Six break up, but I don't know, it is what it is. Yeah, this was super awkward. This is one of these on-location things that, I don't know, maybe didn't really need to happen. Then we go to our next match, and it's very, very interesting because it's an empty arena match, meaning no fans, it's just production staff, a referee, and our 2 combatants, Ruthie J and La Rosa Negra. It's definitely very interesting to see them here. Started off kind of basic, but increased the intensity a little. La Rosa Negra with a Death Valley driver to Ruthie into a trash can. And I don't mean smashed her into the trash can laying long ways. Put her in the actual can. Into the opening. That was hilarious. They brought in the seats for a little bit, including using a couple of them as weapons. Ruthie J with an airplane spin slam onto a big chair, only getting a 2 count. Rosa with an X Factor, a knee drop, attempts the Cokie Splash, but that misses. Ruthie J with a couple of chair shots to the back, and then pinfall winner Ruthie J. So, it looks like hopefully we're seeing a little bit more of a push for Ruthie J. She is very, very talented, and I think deserves perhaps a world title run. Maybe a TV title run to start us off. Speaking of the women's champion, we then see her on location. Actually, it's Kylie, I believe this is. And she's, working out, trying to strengthen her shoulder in a regular gym, which that looks weird. So then she asks for help from someone else. I think that's a wrestler. It might be Mike Mondo, but I did not recognize him. So then this dude saying, oh, you gotta lift heavier weights so you can strengthen your shoulder. So she starts doing that. Then she, out of the corner of her eye, she sees someone. So she stops, makes a beeline, kind of have an awkward cut. Then she sees Brian Idol. Idol asks, what the heck is going on over there? Kylie then says, why are you coming to check up on me? Aren't you hurting too? He's clearly in a sling. Idol then says, I'm coming up here to check on you. Kylie asked, oh, where's the heck is your buddy? Masha. Idol then says, I couldn't talk about it right now, but I've got some calls to make. So he walks off. Kylie then walks back to her gym partner. We get a cut. Commercial break. Come back. Then she's complaining to the gym bro about how she's treated here. I'm just here to try to get better. Then we get another cut. It's the Around the Territory segment, which is very awkward. So then Kylie goes to leave. Then in walks Natalia Markova. Markova says, you got something to say here? Say it to my face. Kylie then says, I say what I want. You didn't earn that shot. Markova then says, it doesn't have to be Kenzie who feels my wrath. Kylie then says, I've got the perfect opponent for you. If you want to fight, you can fight Connor. Then Markova asks, Connor? And then the screen fades. So, I guess we're going to be getting an intergender match coming soon. I have no idea who Connor is, but I guess it should be interesting to see who it is. We then get a backstage promo from Kobe Carino saying, obviously I gotta work my way up from the bottom in this tournament. I've been doing it all my life. No one is going to be standing in my way of my goal, which is the NWA World's title. We then cut to our main event of the evening, as it's Kobe Carino taking on Thrillbilly Silas Mason in the final first round match of the Jack Stain Memorial Tournament. And this started out as a Silas Mason beatdown. Like, Mason was mad. And he was trying to take his head off. Eventually, Kobe Carino does fight back using more of his finesse and using pretty much everything in the arena to take him out. Kobe then cuts a cutter in the middle rope. Then we see Tyler Franks, who I don't think we've seen in a while, comes up on the apron, distracts the referee. Then Kerry Morton gets in the ring, hits a kiss it goodbye. But not on Kobe, but he hits Mason. Oh. And Kobe Carino with a big Hurricane Rana covers Thrillbilly for the upset win. So, we'll see how this relationship between Kerry and Thrillbilly is post this. So then we get the top finish for the Tom Latimer promo from earlier in the night, with him saying, Aaron, you're trying to ruin me. It takes some balls to do what you're trying to do. But trying to ruin me is a mistake. I've already been to the bottom, rock bottom. I never thought I'd be champion, but I got here being the champion kids could look up to. I'm not scared anymore, and the only thing that matters, besides this title, is my heart. It tells me what I'm about to do is the right thing, because it's the end of days for you. So it does sound like Tom Latimer has accepted Aaron Stevens' challenge. We'll see what that entails in the coming weeks, because it could entail something from Jeremiah Plunkett, from our current television champion. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in the near future. A very, very entertaining episode of Power. Interested to see where this tournament goes. And especially what happens to the Southern Six. So, yeah, if you're not watching NWA for whatever reason, not a bad time to tune back in. And that gives us our grand finale, as it's AEW Dynamite time. We start off with a mixed tag team match play-up, and it's tornado style, so no tags needed. We see the Death Riders, so that's our World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley, teaming up with Marina Shafir, potentially wrestling her first match in a while, taking on Swerve Strickland and Willow Nightingale. And of course, the Death Riders jump the babyfaces before the bell. Bell eventually does ring, and they throw every move at one another, including Willow powerbombing Moxley through the table to the outside. Death Riders attempt a superplex, but that gets blocked. Willow then gets back in the ring with a solo Tower of Doom spot, which is absolutely nuts. Babyfaces run stuff for a while. Moxley attempts a Falcon Arrow that gets blocked into a DDT. Mox locks in the sleeper, but then Shafir attacks Willow in the corner, tries to mount her. Willow overpowers her and power bombs her into Moxley, who's still holding the sleeper. So that's definitely a creative spot. Swerve with a flatliner, whiffs on a house call. Mox then attempts to hit Willow, whiffs, hits Marina Shafir instead. Willow hits a pounce on Marina through the table, hits a Babe with powerbomb to pick up the win for her team. And as Willow and Swerve are celebrating, Mox gets up, he's a little delirious, gets back in the ring, hits a paradigm shift on to Willow, which that got a big reaction from the crowd. Mox and Marina then bail out the ring, with Swerve calling for the doctors to check on Willow. We then get a recap of Collision with Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler at odds. We then get an FTR interview, and they have referee Paul Bryan there, with Dax saying, "Look, Paul, I brought you in here. I wanted to apologize. My emotions got the better of me, so I got a little money here. I'm going to give it to you. Buy something nice for your family." Paul says, "Thank you. I appreciate the apology." He walks off. Then Dax talks to Cash, saying, "We are brothers. We've been together 11 years, and one small thing cannot eclipse our history together. I thought you were security. Our goal is obviously being Trios champions, so let's get on the same page and let's go." Dax goes in for Cash for a hug. Cash puts his hand right in the middle of Dax's chest, says, "We are brothers. We are about to add to our legacy, but after Sunday, we need to talk." And Cash walks off. I hope you ain't breaking up FTR AEW. That, oh boy, I am not liking that. We then get a recap of the mixed tag match and the Moxley Aftermath, which felt like more of a time filler than anything else. We then get the both brackets, men's and women's brackets of the Owen Hart Cup revealed. Jay White did announce himself for it, but it was revealed that he got taken out by the Death Riders, which resulted in a real injury. So taking his spot is Kevin Knight, which is very interesting. And he's got a first round matchup against Will Ospreay, which, yes please. We then get a video recap of Kevin Knight's Collision debut, which I'm sad I missed that. But it is revealed he is All Elite, so we're going to be seeing more of Kevin Knight on AEW. Next up, we got a non-title matchup as Timeless Toni Storm, our AEW Women's Champion, takes on Penelope Ford. And this started off a little bit awkward, but eventually they did find their momentum. Really, really good back and forth. Toni with an impressive gutbuster only gets a 2 count. Attempts the Storm Zero, but that gets blocked. Ford then attempts a backdrop, but Toni counters it into a stunner attempt. That gets blocked. Actually, that was Ford, which then leads into the Storm Zero by Toni Storm to pick up the win. Then we see Toni's Dynasty opponent, Megan Bayne, on the ramp. She's slow clapping. Then at one point, I guess, she has a stare down with Storm. Then I guess she gets close up to the ring and collects Penelope Ford. We then go backstage. We see Willow Nightingale. She's face down in the medical office. Then we hear from Swerve saying, "Willow, she's strong, she's brave. She didn't mind helping me. She welcomed the challenge tonight. But Mox, you knew she had neck issues. I'm not resting until I get my hands on Mox. Not at Dynasty, but at the end of the night, I will have my hands on Mox." And then he just walks off. Oh boy, that's going to be interesting. We then get a reveal for what I'm going to affectionately call All In Week, in which we have Dynamite Wednesday, Collision Thursday, Friday is Death Before Dishonor, before we make it to All In, which that looks really cool. AEW kind of making their own WrestleMania week, which is pretty awesome. Then we return to the ring for a Hurt Syndicate promo. Although missing is Shelton Benjamin. He had some travel issues due to the many storms going on last night. MJF presents the microphone to Bobby Lashley. Before he can get a word out comes MJF, who says, "Pardon the interruption, but if we are being honest, I know you didn't mean to disrespect me last week, Bobby. You don't know me the way MVP does, so I'm going to introduce myself. I am MJF. I'm a generational talent. I know who you and Shelton Benjamin are. You're all-time greats. But this is AEW. You're standing on the block that I built. I know how to get to the top and stay there for record time. And I can help you hold the tag titles. And I know you can help me get back the AEW title. And MJF and the Hurt Syndicate is just good business. Everybody in the world knows it. So Bobby Lashley steps up to MJF and says, no, this is still MJF. The Hurt Business might not want MJF, but you need MJF. So Lashley steps up, says, MJF, let's be clear. The only reason I'm not leaving you laying is because MVP likes you. I don't like you. I do not trust you. The Hurt Syndicate does not need you. So get out of my face right now. Now get it. MJF then gets on the microphone and says, only reason I'm getting out of here is because you fans stink. MJF leaves. Then out comes Big Bill and Brian Keith of the Learning Tree. They have a little stare down with Lashley and MVP. Then the Learning Tree get in the ring for a match with some enhancement talent that did not get named. And it was pretty much a squash match after a big chokeslam by Big Bill. So your winners are the Learning Tree. Bill then gets on the microphone and says, on Collision, we beat Top Flight. Tonight, we beat them. Some nobody tag team. Sorry, fellas. Says, at Dynasty, we're going to whoop your ass because we want that tag team title match. MVP was about to retaliate. Lashley puts his hand on his hand. Says, no. And then we kind of see Lashley flash the thumbs up at Big Bill and Brian Keith. So that match is made official for Dynasty. We then go backstage for a Mercedes interview. Monet interview. Says, Julie, my opponent for the Owen Hart Cup, Julia Hart, is very unpredictable, but she's not the greatest TBS champion of all time. It's going to take more than cheap tricks to stop the Monet train. Then the interviewer reveals on Collision there's going to be a tag match with Monet teaming with me, as we see the Monet puppet come out along with Harley Cameron. And I think, so Harley starts up saying, Monet, we really brought the house down under. Now we got a new dream team. So we're going to choose this. On Collision, you stay out of my way. So Monet walks off. Harley then to the interviewer says, I've got the perfect team name. The Monet Rap Train. And the entire time Renee Paquette is corpsing a little bit. So, funny little time. Yeah, we're going to see where this goes. Speaking of seeing where this goes, we got a nice little tag team match here, playa. As we got Will Ospreay teaming up with Kevin Knight They're going to be the first round of the Owen Hart Cup, taking on Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. Definitely been a while since I've seen Lee Johnson wrestle. He has absolutely stepped up his game. He's maybe not on the level of Will Ospreay, but he's getting there. And this was... I don't even know how to describe this match. This was fast-paced, but really, really entertaining. Finishing not with a hidden blade, but with a springboard lariat from Kevin Knight to pick up the win for his team. And as they are celebrating in the ring, Tony Schiavone gets up from the announce table and announces that the first round match between these two is going to be happening at Dynasty, which that's going to be a treat. If you are either going to be at this show or watching wherever you are, we're in for a big old treat this Sunday. So then we go to the back for an Ops promo. That's Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. Although Joe kind of takes the lead on it, saying, "Hey, Samoa Joe here. We are the Ops. I understood, and I get asked all the time why we got together. I understood that the nature of warfare had changed. We had a few forays in the ring together. We're going to be at Dynasty, so don't let us catch you lacking." So either they are scouting for a new member, or they're about to interfere in a match somewhere. Speaking of matches, oh boy, this was a big old Meat Mountain match, and it was exactly what this show needed, as we had Lance Archer taking on Brody King. And they threw haymakers at one another every which way. And actually, before the match got going, Don Callis comes down with Lance Archer, and he sees his doppelganger in the crowd. Someone has been dressing like him. So he kind of whispers in his ear. And I thought for a second, is that Kyle Fletcher? I guess we'll see. I think that would be kind of neat. Instead of it being just some random dude. So yeah, like I said, they threw... This was a heavyweight fight as we've seen it. Brody attempts a Baldo bomb, but that gets blocked by Lance Archer. Archer attempts a chokeslam, that gets blocked by King. King with a big old lariat to pick up the win. Then you see Don Callis, who's sitting on commentary, gets up and kind of collects Lance Archer, although he has a big old disappointed look on his face. So, we'll see what goes down from there. We then have a rundown of the Dynasty card, which looks absolutely awesome. And then we got our main event match of the evening. We'll get to what happens after in a little bit. So we see Adam Copeland taking on Claudio Castagnoli. And this match was so much fun. I know we've gotten it recently, but this rematch was everything I could have ever wanted from these guys. They looked like they wanted to tear each other's heads off. One point we see Claudio attempt a giant swing. Cope counters out of it. Gets Claudio on the apron and hits a spear through the apron, through the ropes. Cope, what are you doing? A couple of times, Claudio attempts the neutralizer. That gets blocked by Cope. Cope hits a big old impaler DDT, only for a 2. Cope attempts a big boot. Claudio grabs the boot, rolls him through, locks in a sharpshooter. Copeland's clawing for the ropes. Claudio lets go, locks in a crossface. Eventually, Copeland does fight out of it and locks in the grindhouse, but Claudio makes it to the ropes. Claudio then with a big old power slam on the apron, tossing Copeland into the crowd. Claudio makes it back into the ring. Copeland beats the 10 count. Claudio with a big old meat hook clothesline, only for a 2 count. Attempts the neutralizer, that gets blocked. Cope goes to hit the spear, that misses. Claudio with a big boot. Cope attempts another spear, that gets blocked by Claudio. Claudio with a pop-up uppercut, only for a 2. Hits the neutralizer, only for a 2 count. And you can see the frustration on Claudio's face. So he leaves the ring, grabs a steel chair from ringside. Actually grabs a pair of chairs, lays one down right under Copeland. He goes for the concerto, but the ref grabs the chair Claudio was holding, throws it to the outside. As that happens, Claudio is looking to hit the neutralizer on Copeland once again. Copeland with the low blow with the ref not looking. Then he sets it up, hits a spear for the big win. That was a very, very entertaining matchup. I could see these two go 100 more times. I don't think I'd be bored. So, next we get an update on Willow Nightingale. We then see Swerve kind of in the background arguing with Prince Nana. Nana walks off. Renee approaches Swerve. Swerve then says, "Sorry, Renee, I'm looking for your husband." So Swerve kind of walks a couple of steps. Then from when Swerve was just standing with Nana, out comes Hangman Adam Page, saying, "You're wasting your time. I made a promise that I wouldn't let you win the world title again. You broke into my home, so I burned down yours." Then Swerve just looks right at Hangman and says, "I know. I deserved it." So Hangman just kind of gets a blank look on his face, looks at Swerve, walks off. Then from out of nowhere, the Death Riders jump Swerve in the hallway. Then Moxley takes him, throws him into like a pane of glass that was just randomly there. Then the Death Riders drag Swerve into the ring. Yuta then produces a bag of something, dumps out some shards of glass onto the ring. Then Claudio hits a big old power bomb on the Swerve into the glass. And the Death Riders go to leave, thinking they finished the job. Swerve then sits up, glass still stuck in his back. And he's just smiling. That visual is awesome. I generally do not know what's going to happen at Dynasty in that title match. Personally, I do hope Swerve wins, so we can get Swerve versus Hangman for the AEW title. But yeah, that was a heck of a closing moment. And honestly, a heck of a Dynamite. AEW Creative has been so much better lately. Like, if you've recently fallen off watching at least Dynamite, I'm going to say this. Now's the time to come back. Like, it has been so much better than it's been. So yeah, a really solid week of pro wrestling so far. I've been sports entertained. Let me know how you feel about any promotion you watch. Could be WWE, AEW, MLW. It's all been fun. So this is where I bid you adieu. Coming this Monday is going to be my review of SmackDown and Collision. Might also do a recap of MLW's Battle Riot, which is coming this Saturday as well. So, yeah, we got a big couple nights of wrestling coming up, leading us up to WrestleMania. So, until then, I hope you all have a nice day, and happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.